recently purchased several wood turning tools at ridiculously low prices at a store fairly close to me. Buying used tools from stores or flea markets or garage sales, if you can find them, is a great way to find really good high quality tools for really cheap. And another great way to find used tools, as in the tools that you're going to see in this video, is through wood turning clubs and networking through the people that you know. A lot of times even some of the members from your wood turning club will trade you them or give you them because they don't want to use them anymore. So that's a really good place to look if you have the option of having a wood turning club near you. So without further ado, this is an Easy Wood Tools detailer, and I literally picked this up used for $5 US. I mean, it's ridiculously cheap for this. And it is in great condition, and all I'm doing here is taking a Scotch-Brite pad and trying to clean up a lot of the stains and glue and whatever else that is on here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'll also use the Scotch-Brite pad to start off with on the wood elements, as in the handle and the ferrule. In this case, it's copper. And if you find some spots that are not coming off with the Scotch-Brite pad, I usually resort to some fine sandpaper, like maybe 320 grit to start off. And my goal is to not destroy the current finish that's on the tool. And depending on what tool you have, you can remove the cutter, like as I'm doing here. This bit is a little dull. Also, if you do have to sand the bottom of the tool shaft that goes over the tool rest, make sure that you don't change the shape of it. You want to keep that flat. And if you have to, you can use a file to help smooth over the edges or flatten the underneath of the tool shaft. Then once I have the tool in the condition that I want it, or as good as it'll be, I will just start increasing the grits on the sandpaper and finish off again with the Scotch-Brite pad. And there is some actual dents in the wood in this handle, and I'm not really going to do anything about those, and there'll probably be more of them over time from me dropping the tool. And if you really need to, you can rig up some sort of jig or mount the tool on your lathe to sand the handle completely if you'd like. So I tried salvaging the original carbide cutter, and I used diamond cards, different grits of diamond cards. I used some lubrication, and then I used some stropping, and then different grits sandpaper up to like 4,000. And I decided to just put on a new one because it was just too far gone. It had too many chunks taken out of the edges. I would have had to sand down the carbide tip to half its original thickness, and that definitely would have impacted its strength. I'm just adding a dry lubrication or penetrating oil, and then I'm going to use a microcrystalline wax to cover or coat the handle, probably about 3 coats. And the only thing left to do for this tool is to try it out, and this is a piece of ash wood. And it works great. Now the next tool that I purchased that I'm going to refurbish is this inboard or inside bowl scraper, and it's a big one, and I've always wanted one of these. And again, I purchased this for $5 US. However, this tool is in way worse condition than the easy wood tools that you just saw. I'm going to start off with some Goo Gone and pretty much give this entire tool an overhaul. Here's a tip. Sometimes when you buy new tools, they come with a varnish coating over the steel. And you want to remove that before you use the tool. It will help with keeping the tool sharp, and it'll just work that much better. And I use Goo Gone sometimes to get rid of all that varnish and gunk on the steel. Next, I'm going to actually sand this handle down and give it a new finish. So, if you've ever seen my 3-ring vase, bud vase video, this is the green dye that's left over from that video. It's an alcohol-based dye, and I just let it dry for 24 hours, and now I'm just lightly wiping it off before I add a couple of coats of spray shellac, wax-free, with a light sand in between each coat. Next, I'm going to apply an oil-based urethane. This is General Finish's Arm R Seal, and I really like this finish. It just takes a while to dry in between coats, and I'll also do a light sand in between each coat except for the very final finish. Also, you want to apply light pressure for the very first coat until that dries, because you could take off the shellac and some of the dye if you apply too much pressure. I'd also like to show you that it does darken the wood. It has a bit of an amber color to it. Fortunately, I want the green color on the handle to be darker, so this is beneficial to me. So I normally keep most of my scrapers at 70-degree bevel angle. This one has come with a 80-degree, and I think I'm just going to copy that 80-degree and try it out and see if I like it. Another thing you want to check when you're buying used tools is making sure that it is a good quality steel. This is a high-speed steel. You can tell by the cherry red sparks. If it was a carbon steel, the sparks would be more of a lighter, whiter color. Not that there's anything wrong with carbon steel. They used carbon steel on lathe tools for many, many years until high-speed steel came along. It's just high-speed steel. You won't have to sharpen as much, and the edge will hold longer. Also, if you're wondering, the white stone that I use here on the left side of my grinder is 120 grit. Another thing that I'm going to do with this particular scraper is I'm going to knock off the burr and smooth out the edges. I really want this tool to be non-aggressive. I want it to have a lot of control and really smooth, light cuts. At least that's what I'll be using this scraper for. It'll be finishing cuts. Now, this is kiln dried ash wood, which is normally very chippy when you turn it, and this scraper has done a really smooth job. Well, I hope everybody's still with me and they're not bored and the video's entertaining. But the next tool is a hollowing tool, and it was meant for hollowing shallow pieces like bowls. It can't protrude very far over the tool rest because of the short handle. I could change the handle on it, but I'm just going to leave it. The handle is in good condition. This is also a multi-tip tool which came with high-speed steel tips, not carbide. So to help me sharpen these small high-speed steel little bits, I'm going to make a jig to hold them so I can use my grinder for the initial sharpening. I might not use the grinder all the time to sharpen them, but it'll be nice to have this little jig. Now, I'm 100% certain this is a little overkill, but I don't have a lighter in my shop, so I'm going to use my propane torch to seal the ends of the rope. Now I'm going to try this tool with the tip mounted underneath and see if there's a difference. Well, I'm going to be totally honest. I think this tool did a great job. I still have to try out more of the other tips, but as far as I can see, I think it's going to be a great addition to hollowing out bowls, and I don't see too much of a difference in mounting the tip underneath the tool or on top of the tool. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you get to find some used tools out there yourselves, and it was actually pretty fun trying them out and refurbishing them, and I'm sure you'll see them in videos to come. So I'm going to go back and work on this bowl and have some fun with some of these tools again. So until next time, stay safe in your shop at all times. Take care. Thank you.